it was reported that Newcastle offered Liverpool Anthony Gordon because they were aware of the PSR deadline that they were bang up against. They were going to, by all accounts, be facing like a double-digit point deduction if they didn't get some players sold. And again, it was reported at the time that Anthony Gordon was offered to Liverpool. It was then reported that Gerald Kwanzaa was part of the deal in that Newcastle asked.
What time was this?
Oh, a little bit later on in the afternoon. Liverpool then, I think Liverpool then briefed out, I would guess, that Liverpool knocked that on there. It was like, no chance, we didn't want to lose Gerald Kwanzaa at any stage. So that was that. Newcastle then sold a couple of other players. They sold Minter and they sold Elliot Anderson. They met the PSR deadline.
What day was that?
That was
Sunday?
Yeah, PSR deadline day. And then this morning it was reported again that Anthony Gordon's head has now been turned because of all this, what was going on. He thought he was joining Liverpool. And then interestingly enough, Luke Edwards wrote in the Telegraph today, a little bit backtracking on and contradicting everyone else reporting, saying that actually Liverpool offered Newcastle Joe Gomez and Gerald Kwanzaa, and that it was Newcastle who felt like they were getting lowballed, which I don't know about that one. That feels like it's contradicted everything else that was reported from numerous other outlets, including Newcastle-based outlets. I know Dan spoke to Lee Ryder this morning, who kind of collaborated the original story that it was basically Newcastle had to get to this deadline and they were offering players out there. So it feels like that was the gist of it, is that Newcastle were aware that Liverpool liked Anthony Gordon. They had to make some money. They were desperately trying to scramble around trying to find this money, and yeah, they offered those. And then having got the deal done with Minton and getting it done with Elliot Anderson, it feels like there's a PR machine coming out of Newcastle now where they're trying to clean this all up, because like I say, it feels like Anthony Gordon wanted and perhaps still wants to move to Liverpool.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Steve.
That makes sense? So
it made sense. It made sense to me. Luckily, I'd read all the stories, so I could sort of piece them together. Chloe, they wanted Kwanzaa. We told them to get fucked. By all accounts.
Is right
indeed.
Yeah.
There is no chance of pushing be getting rid of Gerald Kwanzaa at this point.
Especially not when we've got Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards at the helm. If you think you're going to mess them to about, good luck, try again. Because that is one thing that they don't do. They very much back themselves and they stand their ground, and Gerald Kwanzaa is Liverpool's centre-half for the next 10 to 12 years. And he is right now in my starting 11 on the opening day of the season. So there is absolutely no way that Newcastle were going to get him from us. And also Liverpool already feel like they're a centre-half short, to then go and give them one of our up-and-coming best centre-halves, someone who's had a breakout season last season and actually started ahead of Ibu Konate most of the time, who we actually put a really good price down for. There was absolutely no chance that they were getting Gerald Kwanzaa.
I felt it was interesting. Like, Liverpool can't respond or brief out after every single transfer. It would be impossible. I mean, Chloe knows this, doing her shows, Dan and us as well. Like, it's impossible for the amount of rumours and stuff you get. Liverpool can't respond to them all. They were very quick to brief out that it wasn't us trying to get rid of Gerald Kwanzaa, because the original reporting felt a little bit, because it was a bit vague, like maybe Liverpool had gone to Newcastle and said money plus Kwanzaa for Gordon, and I think Liverpool were very, very quick to brief out to all the local journalists and guys on the Liverpool beat that wasn't the case. I was like,
you can understand it. You need to keep your player happy.
Well, and also you just don't want it out there,
which is something that Newcastle haven't done. By the way, until today, by literally offering Anthony Gordon to Liverpool Football Club. So regardless, like, we know that Anthony Gordon's a Liverpool fan, Dan, but now he knows that he's been sort of offered out to ease their PSR concerns and stuff. Now, it's been talked about for a long time, hasn't it, about Newcastle's PSR stuff. What I find interesting, we'll talk a little bit more on this on the Biased Football podcast on Redmen Plus a little bit later on after this show. Their sporting director's got them in a whole heap of shit, and he's just gone to Manchester United. If he could do the same there, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that'll do for me, mate. Yeah, Dan Ashworth, absolutely. His garden must be perfect by now. The amount of garden leave he's been on, by the way. But he's finally took up the role at Old Trafford, as you say, this morning, I think it was. But yeah, the Anthony Gordon, Newcastle. Would I want him? Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all day long. Yeah, I like him a lot. And whilst Liverpool are quite blessed in that area of the pitch, I think it's fair to say, I do think there's still an upgrade to be done over there, and Anthony Gordon feels like a very good option for that. Chloe's absolutely spot on with the Kwanzaa stuff for what it's worth as well. That was an absolute non-starter. As soon as I seen that line in amongst it, I was like, yeah, that just can't happen. Liverpool won't be entertaining that, and rightfully we didn't. But yeah, from a Newcastle perspective, and Anthony Gordon perspective as well, actually more importantly, we've known for a little while now, and it's felt like, and this is what Lee said to me this morning, actually, like the whole Newcastle squad, for all intents and purposes, was up for sale. Like, they all had a price. So it might not come as a huge shock to Anthony Gordon what happened over the weekend, because he would have been aware of the circumstances, he would have been aware of the deadline and all that sort of stuff. But having said all of that, when it is you probably think that you hear that and you get told like, yeah, whatever, it won't come to me. And then when you are the guy potentially getting moved on, especially when you're not even in the country, you don't really have much of a say on the matter. And this Liverpool, I think we're all well versed now, the fact that is his boyhood club. It's a return to Merseyside, it's Champions League football. You know, the stakes and the temptation is high, really, really high. So it's no surprise the sort of the fallout, despite the deal not happening, is the fact that he's still thinking, okay, I wouldn't mind a little bit of that. Well, that doesn't shock me at all.
No, I'm just like, this is a genie that has been let out the bottle, that there is absolutely no chance that Newcastle can put right in now. It's just, for me, this is going to rumble on. If Liverpool get a bid for Diaz this summer, I think you're going for Anthony Gordon straight off the bat. I think that's almost your first move.
Well, we've played our cards by telling everyone that we like him.
Yeah.
That's out there now. He wants to come to us. I said this morning, actually, I said, out of the three sort of parts of this potential, or any potential transfer, two of them have already put the cards on the table. Gordon's open to a Liverpool move, Liverpool open to Gordon. The Newcastle bit was kind of forced because they had to do something over the weekend. So that's the only missing piece now. But that third part could easily happen in the
And we've
weeks.
seen him force a move out of a club before. He forced his way out of Everton, didn't he? Now, it's not a good look, and I think the article in the Telegraph covers this. Was it Luke Edwards, did you say a minute ago? He kind of covered it, like it doesn't look good and all this, and Newcastle are going to make sure that he feels loved and all this type of stuff. Nah, fuck that. Like, if you're a cheater, and in this case Newcastle are the cheater, you never get back with a cheater. If they've cheated on you once, they'll cheat on you again.
I said that the night before.
They're going to do you dirty once, they'll do you dirty again whenever it needs them. Their troubles aren't overstay, are they? So for me, Anthony Gordon has to force his way to Liverpool Football Club, and there'll be people out there right now going, no, he shouldn't do that, like, he's a little whopper anyway. He was an absolute whopper when he was at Everton, because he played for Everton Football Club, but he was a boss footballer as soon as he got to Newcastle, for me, because he's a boss footballer.
Yes, it's interesting because Newcastle don't need to sell him now, and that's the point we've got now. Is that
Gordon doesn't need to play there?
No, I understand.
Come on, Liverpool, get us one box.
Sometimes when you've seen a player try and force a move, and then clubs hold on. Liverpool done that before. You know, Liverpool did it with Coutinho. They just wouldn't let him go. It wasn't happening, and eventually he left. At some point, Anthony Gordon is going to leave, and it feels like it might be to us. It's just at what point that happens, but it's a difficult one for me because I like him. I think he's a good player, but I'm sat here right now. I just don't know what Liverpool's transfer budget is, and I think there are other pressing needs. I actually think left wing is the best position we've got in the squad. We've got like 4 genuine options who can all go and play out there. Gordon might be better than all of them, probably close to, if not some of them. But if you've got 100 million to spend, and we don't know what that is, centre back, centre midfield feel like bigger needs. But obviously Liverpool would have done this deal, it looks like, if it was just a cash thing. So I don't quite know how to get my head around it, really. Luke's reporting again, because it was very pro Newcastle, which is funny. Again, it felt very PR-ish from my opinion. It did say within it, Liverpool, you know, Anthony Gordon wanted to go to Liverpool. He thought he was probably going to make his way to Liverpool.
If only his agent wasn't a Glasgow.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. That's a rumour that's been going around.
It's Shania Twain.
Yeah, it's a very difficult one. I like him, but I don't love him to the point where I would be like pushing the boat out to go and sign Anthony Gordon, because if
he was a right winger, would you at this point?
100%. And that's it. That's another position in the squad that probably needs fill. Now he can play there. Yeah. He can play all 3 positions. It's a very odd situation in that a player was for sale and then at the last minute he wasn't.
You're forgetting one thing, Steve. We love left wingers. We buy all left wingers all the time. And we have done for years. It's all we do. Yeah, it's like we collect them.
Honestly, it
doesn't matter if you need a centre half. Let's just buy another left winger.
It's like on The Simpsons when he's playing the putting green. It's like, are you sure you want to use your driver? We recommend putter. You've selected driver. You need a centre back. You've selected left winger.
You need a DM. You've selected left winger.
That's what it's very much like.
Over and over again.
I just feel. It's a very messy situation that Newcastle found themselves in. They knew about this for a while, and other clubs who were up against it PSR wise dealt with it a little bit better than Newcastle did. Everton got their ducks in a row relatively soon enough, where they didn't have to lose Jared Brantwaite, for example, yet. You know, they got rid of some fringe players. Now Newcastle, in the end, they did the right thing. They got rid of a backup player and a lad a young promising lad, but one who hasn't really played for them. They got it right at the end. But for 48 hours, they were absolutely scrambling about. All we don't know now is like, how headstrong is Anthony Gordon? Is he willing to force a move? Like, really do it? Because it was all well and good doing it from Everton. Is he going to try and do where it's, you know, iffy contract situations and that kind of stuff? Needed the money. Newcastle don't need the money now at this moment in time. A bit down the line.
Where are they for next year, Dan?
Not sure in terms of the PSR stuff you mean. I'm not sure. It was said to me that they're not in the healthiest of positions. This is going to come around again, it feels like, especially with no European money to come through the door either this time around. So I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility that they're still in a position. If they want to go out and reinforce this summer, which you'd imagine they would do, because they're going to spend big, all this PSR done has kicked it down the road, really, it feels like, because they need a centre-back. That's why they wanted Quanta. They've sorted the goalkeeper situation in a little bit of a PSR swizz that they did over the weekend, I think it's fair to say.
Nottingham Forest.
No, Nottingham Forest goalkeeper, yeah. Greek lad who I'm not prepared to even try and pronounce.
After John Ruddy.
Did they sign John Ruddy as well?
But that was like...
That's the homegrown stuff.
He'd be the third choice, yeah. But they're not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination in terms of next year's PSR calculation. So if they do want to spend big this summer, which you'd imagine they would do, because they'll come back to it, missed out on European football this time around, obviously in the FA Cup game and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't think selling Anthony Gordon, whether it be this summer, January or next, is out the realms for what Newcastle need in terms of money.
Can I so my rebuttal to that would be, I don't think they would want to sell Anthony Gordon to buy someone else.
I thought you were asking a question.
But what if this is what if he wants out though?
Yeah, but that's the question now. That is it. That's the question. How do they react to this? Because PR-wise, if you're a sports washing entity, which that's what Newcastle has become, the last thing you want, Dan, is that you don't want to be PR'd out of it. You know what I mean? You're meant to be positive. You're not meant to get embarrassed. And if you lose a player to Liverpool, do you not think from their point of view that's like the last thing they would want? To be, well, we're the richest club in the world. We've got the richest owners in the world. But here's a young Scouse lad who's just weasels the way out of our club.
Possibly, but then is that quite sort of short-term thinking-wise? Because maybe you do take a bit of a PR hit in that very short term where you've lost a player that you signed. He was one of your marquee signings. I guess also he's returning for Champions League football, mentioned the boyhood club stuff, back to Merseyside, so you can probably sort of square that circle. And also if long term that means you can spend extra on this player and that player and your squad's in a healthier place, quite possibly, and throw in the fact and the caveat that we've already all said, the fact that it's kind of become apparent over the weekend that he wouldn't mind that move a little bit. It's probably for the best.
Here's one, right? Question for you, Chloe, from Supernova.
Yes, there you go. I've already answered it. Yeah. 100%.
For podcast listeners,
I can't say
would you straight swap Diaz to Newcastle with Gordon?
1,000,000%.
Yeah, on the news show, Chloe caused a bit of a ruckus by saying he's Gordon. Did he say way better?
I just said he's a better player than Diaz.
I agree. See, I've sat here for 2 months saying I wouldn't sell Diaz. But Anthony Gordon is a player that I would want Liverpool to sign. I think you look at the goals, you look at the assists, it's obviously better. He's playing for a poor Newcastle side. He had a really tough start at Newcastle as well, but he got to grips with it. I was looking at some stats. We're doing a deep dive on it tomorrow, by the way, me and Josh, like a Diaz versus Anthony Gordon sort of deep dive. So I won't give anything away, but in terms of pressures and stuff like that, he puts more pressures per 90 than any other Newcastle player, covers more distance to pressurise players and stuff like that.
His engine's ridiculous.
His engine's honestly ridiculous. He's a quality player. I wouldn't let him anywhere near a bike, but he's a quality player. And Chloe, for me, you look at what Diaz has done, 27 years old, hasn't really kicked on, unfortunately for us, although he's been outstanding for us, I will say that. Yep. Whereas Anthony Gordon's 23 years old, he's English, he fills a homegrown quota for how long, for how many years? Having a first teamer who's an English player is it's a godsend in that regard, isn't it? So there are so many reasons that I can think of, but for you, what are the standout reasons you would do that swap?
I think I love Diaz. I love his desire. I love how much commitment he gives on a football pitch, but there's not enough end product for me. And I think Anthony Gordon's already shown that he's got more end product already with his season at Newcastle. I think Lucho, I've seen the best of Lucho, and I don't see him improving. Like what he is now is what he will be for the rest of his time at Liverpool. Anthony Gordon, he's 23 years old, and I can see how his ceiling is so much higher. For me personally, anyway, I think, like you mentioned there, He's a little bit of a shithouse, which I absolutely hate when it's against us, but love when it's for us.
Just hold that thought, because Liam Bento's put in a great message here. The Gordon lad was beating the Newcastle badge an awful lot, celebrating with the fans. Seems a little bit of a mercenary narc, like a Scouse Suarez.
Yeah,
but that fits in perfectly with what you were saying.
Exactly. And 14 months ago, I absolutely despised the lad. But since he started playing for Newcastle, I realised how good of a player he is. and Everton, you didn't really see that because you just hated them so much.
He was playing well against us, though.
Yeah, he did.
He always played well against us.
He did, but my hatred for him kind of wiped out anything else. Where now I just think he's got the pace, he's silky, his dribbling's brilliant, but he's got the end product that is much needed. He's Scouse. Hello. He's Scouse and he adores the Reds apparently as well, so I'd love that as well.
Pittsburgh Everton would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be.
I think the pace is the one. I think Liverpool, Diaz is the only rapid one Nunes is the only rapid player I think we've got like really serious pace in the forward areas, and he's always offside, so doesn't really get to use it so much. What's that for?
No, they're having a conversation about we're about to eat something. There's a wrapper lying around or something. Oh, I couldn't see.
What have you got?
Grenade Oreo bar.
What is it?
It's me Grenade Oreo bar.
We're not even sponsored by them either.
I'm going to say, yeah. No. Other brands are available.
They are crap.
No, don't say that. We might get sponsored by them. Or protein bars. We'll take any of the money that you're giving us.
Wrap around here means boss, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's Chloe Scout's terminology.
Yeah.
It's the pace thing is the key for me. Just going back to the Gordon thing. I think the reason I don't think Man City bought Jeremy Doku thinking he's the best thing since sliced bread, but he just wants that little bit of pace that you just need every now and then. And I do believe Liverpool are lacking that in wide areas. So I don't see a world where Darwin's going to play left wing. So that's why I would think Gordon might suit better at times, going back to the Diaz question. But I think they're not that dissimilar in levels, but the age and the fact that Gordon can get better is probably why you probably would do it. But yeah,
it feels like it's going to be one of those break your transfer record type of signings.
It's a lot of money, isn't it?
Then I wouldn't do it.
Well, it's kind of going to have to be, I suppose, isn't it? Unless he really does dig his heels in.
I think it's in the round it, whatever happens, isn't it? We're talking upwards of 70, aren't we? Which isn't too far of a move from our transfer record, of course. So, yeah, is he worth that? I guess at some point we're going to have to break it, is what I'd say, because the way modern football is going, we nearly broke it last summer with the Moises Caicedo, 24 hours that we all had. So, yeah, at some point it's going to have to get broken, and it's going to be for a certain type of player. Whether Anthony Gordon's that, I'm not sure. I guess sort of the problem in around that conversation is the fact that we are quite well stocked at left wing, but I don't think... If Luis Diaz went and the Barcelona interest became serious and they somehow conjured up the money to make that deal happen, I don't think we'd be too against Andy Gordon spending that sort of money on him.
Is it one that Liverpool are going to be proactive in, or is this just a reactive?
I think it's reactive.
Yeah,
I do. I think we're waiting on Diaz. I don't think they'll actively sell Diaz, but I think if that becomes a thing that's happening, I think they'll look immediately to Andy Gordon, and I'd be for it.
Than Diaz?
Yeah, lots of different things he is. Yeah, most certainly. I mean, he scored against the entire Big Six last year in the Premier League. Like, we're not.
Did we?
Probably not. I'm not sure we did. Yeah. But numbers-wise, his numbers are really good. They're better than Luis Diaz, in spite of playing less games on him. But it's that for
and
me.
And in a less creative team.
It's scoring against the big teams for me. That's what I look at more than anything else and go, that's something that big games in the Newcastle side that aren't exactly pulling up trees last season. To do that is really quite something.
My worry on that is he's a very good counter-attacking player.
Well, so have we been in the past?
No, when Liverpool are the best counter-press, but it's more win the ball, high up the pitch and then go. I don't think that Gordon gets as many of those straight one-on-ones. Like, you know what I mean? Like for us, maybe there'll be certain games he would, because Diaz certainly got one against Manchester City and he fluffed his lines. And you're right. And I think Anthony Gordon probably would have scored that. So I do see. I
think Gordon's so direct.
Well. The direct is the key word in Anthony Gordon's game for me.
Is there any?
He's versatile enough, you know.
Is the Chris mentioned before, and I'll ask you, Chris. Actually, you said before, like the cheating thing, you know what I mean? Like he's been a dickhead at Everton. If he's a dickhead at Liverpool, like, are we comfortable hiring or signing a dickhead that we just don't?
I think he has been a dickhead though. Really, he's just wanted to move, and that's it, isn't he?
He's
only done it once. He got the move, and he was proved right. He's kicked on since he left Everton Football Club. is he being a dickhead to force a move from a club that tried to sell him?
It's a good point.
And to his boyhood club.
I don't think he is being a dickhead in that regard.
Listen,
they were the one who opened this can of worms. Let's not forget, not Anthony Gordon.
And our captain,
he was quite happy. He was playing getting a minute or something in the Euros or whatever, just going about his business. Next thing, he's found out that his boyhood club had been offered him. That is completely different for me, and I'm cool with it.
And also, you've got to think when his entire season at Newcastle, he's gave those fans absolutely everything. By the way, he's left everything.
He was their player of the year, wasn't he?
I mean, it would surprise me.
Probably.
Because I think Isaac just didn't get enough minutes, did he?
I've wondered. He's very good.
But he's gave their fans everything. Like you mentioned, hitting the badge, showing the desire, showing all of that. He's had so many nice words to say about St James's Park, and rightfully so. What an atmosphere they can create. But
was their player of the year, by the way.
Yeah, but when that team then tries to throw you out and basically sell you, then that's
that.
Changes dynamic for me, doesn't it?
It does.
Massively changes dynamic.
That's why Luke Edwards' article today is really the first part of the PR spin. It was like, we didn't really want to lose him. We did everything we could. Don't have a go at him. It's a bit. I think he even says the things like, it would be like a Geordie getting the opportunity to come to Newcastle, and so we have to understand where he's coming from. They realise they balls this up massively, and the spin is already in motion, and it's going to continue. The reason I think I'm worried if anything happening with it is because I just think the cost is going to be huge, and Newcastle are going to do everything they can to keep him. I wouldn't be shocked if they signed him.
50 million quid bid comes in for Diaz, and you can get Gordon for 70, so a net 20. Are you doing it?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think Newcastle will sell him for 70.
Okay.
And that's ultimately where I'm at with it. I think it would be more. I think you'd have to go above the Van Dijk fee. I'm not sure Liverpool need to be doing that.
Okay, if it's 80,
I'm so comfortable with that.
I'm so comfortable with that.
Yeah, I can understand it.
I think honestly, I think the English thing's massive as well.
And the age, and
age, English, being a boss player. Chloe, would you do 30 million top of Diaz sale?
Yeah, I would. I think.
And sorry to interrupt after asking you a question, but I think 50's low for Diaz, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
But that was the rumour that Liverpool wanted the money for him last week, wasn't it? But 60, 70 isn't out the realms of possibility for Diaz. You might be adding 10, 20 on top.
No, and look, there are certain clubs who are missing left wingers at the moment in time. You've still got the Saudi. Not us. There are also, the Saudi Pro League, which hopefully, if there was a deal to be made there, we could maybe sell and get him a bit more money. But for me, the 50 mil from James Pearce on Diaz is extremely low. I'd be expecting 70.
That's my point. If we're expecting 70 for Luis Diaz, why the hell are Newcastle going to take 70 million for Anthony Gordon?
I just hope that Anthony Gordon forces his way out of it.
I think you'd be looking like 100 million, like Jack Grealish type. I think Jack Grealish set the precedent.
I'm not spending 100 million.
And that's my point, is that I don't think I would be comfortable with that.
No, if you're saying you're throwing 50 on top of Luis Diaz when you've got everything else to go on in the squad, it seems a bit mad. But if Liverpool have the dough,
I'm still quite comfortable with that, by the way.
We don't know. We just don't know.
I think
you're basically saying Anthony Gordon 50 million.
Oh yeah, but if it was just straight up money.
My thing is, I get it, and I'm not too far away from that, Dan. But when you've got centre half, when you've got a potential 6 and all that type of stuff. 50
million is crippling our budget for the summer, our war chest for the summer. We've got a big problem anyway beyond this conversation, to be honest.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Big club, got to do big things.
Need to, should do. Hopefully, will do.